How's everyone doing? Good? Good? All right. We're going to have some fun today. I have a lot of information to cover, and I'm going to squeeze it into about the next 40 minutes. It's going to be action-packed. But real quickly, speaking of action, we're in Las Vegas, and I want to take a quick poll. Do we have any gamblers in the room? All right. Good. I'm among friends. I'm a gambling degenerate myself, and I've only been here about 2 days. I'm already down $1,000. What's even worse than that is that I played NFL football and I went 0 for 4, right? It is almost statistically harder to go 0 for 4 than it is 4-0. So why is it that I am down $1,000 and why is it that I feel like such a loser? And I'll tell you what it is. It's because I sat there, I studied the board, and I made some bets based on intuition. I made some bets based on what my gut told me, based on what some analyst predicted was going to be the outcome of the game, okay? Which is okay. $1,000 in the grand scheme of things is nothing, right? Especially when you look at some of your marketing budgets out there, $1,000 is a drop in the bucket. So what I'm here today to do is change your way of thinking about how you spend your marketing dollars. And I want to urge you to please do your gambling in the casino. But when it comes to your website, when it comes to your marketing spend, please use analytics, please use data, and please use a scientific approach to the way you go about designing your websites and buying your online media. So, with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and jump right into the presentation. I'm the co-founder of DealerOn, 8 years retail automotive experience. The last 10 years, I've been building and designing websites for dealers. That's 18 years, I'm 36 years old, meaning if I wasn't in the car business or building websites, I'm not qualified to do anything. So, offices in Washington, D.C. We've enjoyed some pretty explosive growth the last 2 years. Thank you for everyone in this room that has helped us achieve the Inc. 5000 status. And we're going to talk about conversion. Before we get into what conversion is, and Corey did a wonderful job explaining to us LTV and sharing with us Dadium's insight across 13,000 dealerships. So that information we have access to, we're a subscriber, and I'm going to use only information that can be verified through their network, and that's what I'm going to share with you today, or information that I have through our own analytics. None of this is going to be gut instinct, intuition, or whatever it was that let me go 0 for 4 on Sunday. All right, so very simply put, conversion is simply how many of these guys go to your website and turn into these guys, right? Couldn't be any easier. And what these guys is considered a goal. And goals can be broken up into micro and macro conversions, and they're both extremely important. A micro conversion is wonderful for gain intent and engagement. So if you spend money on a paid search campaign, an email marketing campaign, and all you look at is how many phone calls you got, how many leads you got, or what your showroom looked on Saturday, you may be missing a very important piece of the equation. So you want to look at things like inventory searches as well, VDP views, map and location views. No one's going to your map and locations page because they're curious. They want to know where you're located and what time you close because they intend on possibly visiting you. That's a pretty qualified buyer. And then very, very importantly, we need to look at coupon prints. Coupon prints is a great metric to measure fixed operations, especially because most of the coupon prints on your website are for service and parts coupons. And then your macro conversion are your form submissions and your phone calls. And these are the ones that are easiest to track. These are the ones that you can affect through some testing and optimization, and what I'm going to focus on for the duration of this presentation. Okay? Cool. Now, Corey pointed out to us that across these 13,000 websites, we as an industry have a 1.6% conversion rate. All right? So that graph right there represents the total dealer population in terms of lead to visitor conversion. All right, that's the bad news. The good news is that there's a small subset of the population that's actually converting at 4 times the national average. And what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to highlight some of the best practices, some of the results of A/B split tests, and some of the secrets of what DealerOn's been doing over the last 10 years to help you be able to better design your websites. And if you leave me your business card, I will send you a copy of this presentation. If you like some of the ideas and the research I share with you, I encourage you to send the screenshot to your website provider and ask them to duplicate some of these ideas. I'm not saying you're going to get the same type of lift, because what applies to a Toyota store in Washington, D.C. may not apply to a Mercedes store in Oklahoma, okay? So understand that there's some variation here. But we are going to talk about some universal principles that not only work across the nation and across brand, but across verticals as well. So these come from travel sites, these come from e-commerce sites, all the top performing websites in the industry. All right, so some of these websites out there enjoying the 400% increase over the national average are some of these sites that I've mentioned here. According to Dadium's awards that they announce every year, they're going to be announcing tomorrow. Holly Kia was the ASI winner across all the different metrics that they cover. Last year was Ideal Nissan, and Scott Clark Toyota is always kicking ass. All right, so if you look at those guys, they're almost all around 8% conversion, 4 times that of the national average. So what does that mean exactly to you in terms of dollars and cents? Dadium also indicates that across 13,000 websites that the average dealer has about 4,000 unique visitors per month, okay? So 4,000 unique visitors divided by a 2% conversion, we're talking about the average dealer website generating about 80 leads per month, okay? We also have sales data from NADA that suggests that as dealers, we're pretty good at closing leads generated from our own website. We're a lot better at generating closing website leads than we are third-party leads or OEM leads, okay? The actual national average is above 15%, thank goodness, but I'm gonna like to go with low round numbers, all right? So let's say 4,000 unique visitors, 15% closing ratio. That means the leads generated from your website, the form submissions for the average dealer is only resulting in about 12 car deals per month that we could track. That's for the average dealer. Some of these small subset of the population that are getting 8% conversion, for the same marketing spend, they're able to yield 48 car sales from their website, which is 36 more incremental sales, because they spent the time, money, and effort. They took some money away from their paid search budget and from their retargeting and their social media, whatever it is that they're doing, and they said, you know what? I'm gonna hire an analytics expert. I'm gonna get Dadium involved. I'm going to spend some money on some testing software, and I'm not going to take my website provider's word for it, and I'm going to run my own tests. And they did, and they gave us some great insights. And I'm going to share those with you. So what does that mean in terms of dollars and cents? That means the dealership competing against the dealer with an 8% closing ratio has to spend 4 times as much money to sell the same amount of cars. So there's a huge competitive advantage and huge cost savings to focusing more of your time and attention and dollars on conversion rate optimization than, say, search engine optimization, which is also very important, but don't put all your effort into that and no effort on your website and just think that your website provider has done all these tests for you. Because I'll share you another statistic, is that in America, most companies, dealers included, do less than 2 tests per month on their website. Okay? I'd venture to say that most of the dealers in this room don't even do 2 tests per year. Does anyone in here do A/B split testing on their dealer website? Do you do more than 2 a year? Well, congratulations. I'm having a party at the Cosmopolitan. Let me buy you some drinks and have some food, because that is the kind of person and the type of dealership that's going to get the 8% conversion ratios. But for the rest of us, we're only doing about 2 tests per year or less than 2 tests per month. The one company that I have the utmost respect for, that I follow religiously, that I would do anything to be able to be a shareholder for, is Amazon.com. They do over 200 tests per month. And if you look at the comparison of Amazon.com to the nationwide average, in the nation we spend an average of $92 on driving traffic to our websites to every $1 we spend on our website, on testing and optimization. Amazon and other leading companies like Home Depot and some other Zappos and some other really in-tune conversion-oriented customers, e-commerce websites, spend about $20 on traffic to every $1 in optimization. And by doing that, they also enjoy a 67% lower cost per acquisition. All right, so I think so far I've made a good business case that should get you to pay close attention to some of the case studies that we've done, the results that we've seen. All right, so when looking at your website, you should have some sort of framework in mind. Okay, so when you're analyzing a page, creating a page, designing a page, look at these 5 things. First thing you want to ask yourself is, what is my motivation that I'm creating on this page for my customer to take action? If there's nothing in it for them, then they're not going to do anything on the page. The next most important thing is the call to action. Is your call to action specific? Is it obvious? Does it communicate a benefit? And most importantly, is it above the fold? Secondly, is this a simple layout? Is it designed in a way that's easy to read? Can you, in 5 seconds or less, immediately determine what you're supposed to do on this page, who it's intended for, and what the purpose of it is? And what have you done on that page to evoke a sense of trust? Okay, we have it easy as dealers because we primarily have lead gen websites. It means all we want the person to do is give up their name, email, phone number, and sometimes a social security number. It's a lot easier to convert to get someone's personal information than it is to get their credit card. So make sure that you incorporate trust elements into your site, letting people know that you will not share their information with anybody, letting them know that you're part of the Better Business Bureau, or all those type of things. It's a secure server. All these emblems evoke a sense of trust. Put your OEM logo on your pages so people recognize you're a franchise car dealership. That holds some weight. And then risk reduction, okay? If I make a mistake, if I give you my information, if you don't use it the way that I intended, I hoped you had used it, or the way that you led me to believe you're going to use it, what can I do to minimize the risk of you sharing my information or spamming me or calling me repeatedly? Okay, that's the master framework. It's something we coined in-house. It's easy to remember and very, very useful when making any update to your website. Sometimes the smallest change can have the most significant impact on your overall performance of your website. Okay, so there I am. I'm dressed in a lab coat, not because I'm a scientist and not because I'm a doctor or a meat packer, but it's because I want you to really take your marketing glasses off and look at this through a strictly scientific, a strictly data-driven approach. All right, there's a Kia dealership that I consulted with not too long ago that did a tremendous amount of subprime business. And their subprime deals were extremely lucrative, talking to the tune of $5,000, $6,000 per copy, right? So they put together a big AdWords campaign to drive traffic through expensive keywords like bad credit, auto loan, bankruptcy, those type of search terms that are very expensive. So they thought they were being very strategic because they would buy those keywords, create ads around targeting those customers, and then they would deep link those clicks directly onto their credit application page. That's a pretty good idea. Why would you send that traffic to your home page and force them to navigate and find your credit application and go through all that brain damage? Well, it is a great idea, except for the fact that that's what their credit application looked like, right? Look at let's look at the master principle real quick. Do we see any motivation here? Is the call to action clear-cut, obvious, above the fold? Is it a simple form? Is there anything that evokes trust? Anything there to educate you or to reduce the risk in engaging with this? It doesn't have any of those involved. And that's why his lead cost was over $80 a lead to send traffic to this page. But at $80 a lead, if he closed 10%, it was $800 cost per sale. He's cracking people at $5,000 a copy. He was still content with that outcome. And I'm challenging you, regardless what your profits look like, regardless what your closing ratio is, pay attention to this form, apply those principles, and create something like this, and enjoy some significant increase in ROI. So we took this form and we reduced it to a 5-liner, so to speak, right? So we took first the 4 fields of information we absolutely had to have in order to get back in touch with this customer. We created an obvious headline that communicated some value, a sub-headline that reinforced the value. We told them how many steps are in the process, and we also incorporated a video to put their mind at ease, to build trust. It's the girl next door. She's, a brunette, kind of looks like Marianne from Gilligan's Island, right? So we capture that first 4 fields of information, and the lead is generated and sent off to the dealership. If we get any of those subsequent fields of information, that 91% of the time we do, wonderful. We have a full credit application, we can run the bureau. If we don't, we can call the customer back and say, I noticed that you abandoned the process halfway along the way. I'd be happy to take your information over the phone or set an appointment and have you come in and complete the rest. It's a secure server, have no issues putting your social security number in there, and we're indicating that with that emblem. There you go. 300% lift in conversion by breaking this long, attractive, complicated form into 4 simple steps. What that means is that $6,000 or $9,000 pay-per-click budget just dropped down to $3,000. And he's still making those $5,000 grosses. So if you're not already doing this, if you have one of those long forms that has all these fields of information, this is a pretty simple change you can make and enjoy some really, really significant increase in conversions. Good looking website here. This company, not meaning to pick on anybody, I pick them because I think their sites are beautiful, they're well designed, they're optimized very well, but I don't think they built this from a conversion perspective. All right, so we've got your standard lead collection form, right? And at first glance, it's nicely designed, it's clean, it looks pretty simple, but someone has clicked on a button on the dealer's VDP or on their inventory search page wanting to request more information. All right, so we already know what his intent is. Now, first, is request more information a very compelling call to action? It doesn't really entice you to want to get some sort of benefit from doing it. It's not bad, but it's not the best call to action that comes to mind when I'm thinking about it. But more importantly, what is this right here? Why are we giving them navigation, additional places to click away from this form on the side of the lead collection form? So get a quote, make an offer, call today, request a test drive. These are all distractions. Get rid of them. You don't need them. If someone has clicked on a call to action, the only thing you should present to them is 4 simple fields, a headline, strong call to action, and some supporting text to sell the offer and not the car. So we decided to redesign this form for them. Oh, and very importantly, we talked about the credit application and all the multiple fields. Do we really need to know the best time to contact them? Do we really need to know the time zone they're in? Every additional field of information you request is an 11% drop in conversion. So that information there doesn't give your salespeople really any additional leg up to try and get in touch with this customer. Purchase time frame is not a bad one. Most people just aren't honest with you anyway. Comments are important. That's one field I will encourage you to use because people sometimes want to give you additional insight as to what they're looking for. So we decided to redesign this form using the master principle. So we crafted an engaging call to action. We made it bold, request a sale price. Now they already know what you have on your lot because you publish your inventory. This dealership publishes their internet price, so they know what you'll sell the car for them. So the only way I can tempt them to give up their contact information is to let them know that, hey, here's the price, but we may have a sale going on this car. We maybe an overage unit, it may be something that we can give you an extra $100 off. You're not committing to anything, you're just saying, request a sale price, and the subheadline says, we provide savings on our inventory daily based on current inventory supply. Check and see if this vehicle qualifies for further reduced sale price. Just check and see. And look at our call to action. The headline is request sale price. Your call to action is get sales price. Get sale price. So not submit. Submit is not compelling. Submit is not a call to action. It's if you have submit on your website, change it to something a little more creative, a little bit more effective. So by reducing the size of the form and incorporating those elements, we saw 130% lift. I'm going to go through these real quickly, and then if you want the slides, you can have them, and I can give you even more examples. We've done numerous case studies, as you can see. All right, so one of my favorites, I talk about this a lot, is consumer reviews, right? So psychological principles, social proof is the most powerful one, and building trust on landing pages is also the most important principle. So adding consumer reviews to your vehicle details page just makes a lot of sense. You spend all that time and energy collecting these reviews. You got your DealerRater account, you've got your Google Plus full of all these great 5-star reviews, but when you direct people to your website and you're asking for their personal information, why aren't we displaying those reviews to them at that moment to build trust and to motivate them to take action? So what we decided to do was replace some valuable real estate on this vehicle details page, which was the standard equipment or the installed options, and replace that with customer reviews. All right? So there you see DealerRater reviews piped into the VDP, and these are the 10 most recent positive reviews that this dealership had generated over the last month. What we saw as a result of just changing that and nothing else, because when you do an A/B split test, you can only change one variable at a time, is a 25% lift in conversions from this page by just replacing your standard equipment or your tech specs or your options with consumer reviews. Now, I have to admit, you can't tell on the slide, but in order to fit the 10 most recent positive reviews, we had to cheat a little bit. And cheating in the conversion world means using some movement, using some video, some audio, any of these multimedia, utilization of multimedia completely cannibalizes the user's attention. So if you want someone, I've seen a lot of people have that video come out and promote their trade-in or promote some call to action, which is great, but you, at the risk of all the attention is going to that video player at that moment or the movement on your page. So I thought this might be compelling enough to monopolize the person's attention, so we had it scroll very slowly on the VDP, and it seemed to work. Now the only thing more powerful than scrolling text is video. So we thought to ourselves, wow, if we got a 25% lift by scrolling text testimonials, what if we took videos of our customers and we put video testimonials instead? Not on autoplay, but just give the consumer the option to listen to these testimonials before they have to take the next step, which is giving up their personal information. So we did another split test. This time, we put actual live video testimonials on the vehicle details page, and we removed the DealerRater scrolling testimonials, and voila, 42%, yes sir. These are reviews about the dealership experience. Now, that's an excellent question, and in a perfect world, we would 100% be putting vehicle-specific reviews on this page so that people, it's a vehicle page, and people are probably a little more interested in wanting to know how other consumers feel about this vehicle.
Also, is that 42% up again from the 25% lift?
No, that's the total. Excellent questions. So the point I'm trying to make is because we're on Expedia or on Amazon, if you piped in reviews on a product page that were not specific to that product, your consumers would bounce and it would be irrelevant and useless. But because we're in the car business and there's so much resistance to which dealership we do business with, and there's so much research out there on the specific cars and test drive reviews and available things, we needed to test the fact that, hey, if we put generic dealership specific reviews and not vehicle reviews, what would be the impact of it? And we saw that there was a lift of at least 25% or 42% if you ever to use video testimonials. All right. Now I want you guys to be honest with me, and I'll be honest with you. All right. Of our 700 plus websites out there, I've probably put on the street 600 of them with rotating sliders on the homepage. All right, because it made sense to me. You got so many different promotions going on. You got service offers. You got new car specials. You got special APRs. I don't know what the consumer is looking for. I'm not really doing behavioral targeting at this moment to try to predict what they're most likely to respond to. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to load up 4 different offers, rotate them every couple of seconds, and hope that I land the customer on the right one and they stick around on my homepage long enough to engage with one of them. Well, that was probably a naive way of thinking. Fortunately, I had data from a lot of different verticals, a lot of different industries that are doing the same exact thing. And time again, these big publishers of travel sites and e-commerce websites have seen a huge reduction in overall engagement, conversion, and micro conversions when they rotate multiple offers because their consumers found it to be a distraction, right? So in our industry, when we get someone to our homepage, we want to funnel them as quickly as possible into an inventory search, or if they're looking for service or parts, we want to get them to the necessary service and parts related page. By feeding multiple different offers that are non-specific and not directly guiding a consumer down a specific path or specific call to action is actually an inferior approach to conversion. So come Monday, we're going to be making a lot of phone calls and we're going to be asking our dealers if they would agree to pick one image, one static image that they feel adequately promotes their value proposition and a big, obvious, clear call to action. And we want to help them achieve higher inventory search percentages, which will ultimately lead to more conversions. So here's your average, dealership homepage. This is what I'm talking about. Seen these? Raise your hand if you have sliding banners. All right, okay. So I got 600 of them, so I'm much more guilty than all of you. But what we found was if you took one, right, clear-cut call to action. Now this one happens to be a service special, and that may be the right offer for you. It may not be. It all depends on what your goals are, right? I think this is a pretty good approach because people are coming to your dealership to either buy a car or service a car. The most impactful, the most effective inventory search call to action on your homepage is this search widget right there. If you don't have an inventory search widget in the top left-hand corner of your website, you are costing yourself a significant volume of inventory searches. You're making people have to, scroll up to your top navigation, choose between a new or used vehicle, drop down, click. That is a very, very important technique. And I think a lot of dealers out there have picked up on that. And definitely Dadium has published some pretty groundbreaking research on not only the impact of inventory search, but the location.
With a widget like that, is there a way to leave it an open-ended search text so you can kind of get data as far as what people are looking for?
So yes.
Drop downs of only what you have.
Are you saying like a keyword search?
Yeah, so like, let's say I only have Camrys on my lot. Mm-hmm. Somebody types in Honda Accord because they might be looking for a used one. Mm-hmm. I get 300 requests for Honda Accords every month.
That's really good data to collect. It helps the webmaster decide what content to make more prominent on the website. It's phenomenal data for your search engine marketing provider to find out not only what are the referring keywords that are getting people to the site, but when they're navigating within the site what they're looking for. And it helps for optimization from SEO because it lets you pick up on certain common misspellings and so on and so forth. We do advocate that, but what we recommend is if you're going to do it, use Google's keyword tool. It's $100 per year and drop it into your website and don't attempt to build something yourself because it's just a way too sophisticated of an algorithm. If you do it wrong, you're going to hurt your impact. The flip side is that we're not getting the volume of people interacting with it. So we had a big group, a very progressive group in Tampa, Florida, the Crown Automotive Group. They implemented it globally on their headers across 21 stores. And we collect some useful insights from it, but we haven't found a way to get more people to engage with it. All right? So, inventory search widget, very important. I think I just basically made that point, so we'll move on past this one. All right. How many people think, yes?
How do you suggest changing that static rotator?
How do I suggest it? Oh, great question. So what I would do, again, I advocate test. If you have a specific promotion going on for that month that you think is widely, something very rare or important, I think you should have it for that month. I think it's important to keep your content fresh in your homepage fresh. I would not change it more than once a month. Because how much data, if the average dealership gets 4,000 unique visitors, you need a large enough sample size to be able to determine the effectiveness of one offer versus another. Now there's some smart companies out there that can take the keywords from Google and try and decipher, is this person a service customer? Is he looking for a specific model? Is he a used car customer? It's very easy to do. And then you load up your website, let's say with 10 different banners, pre-designed, and based upon the cues from the search engine, you can load up the appropriate one with probably an accuracy rate of maybe 40 to 50% if you're really targeted and you take the time to build a lot of banners to account for a lot of different situations. So that would be probably the ideal solution. It's a use of behavioral targeting to display one based on consumer behavior. Does anybody here find it really annoying when you go to a website and before you have a chance to click through to anything else, suddenly the site grays out and there's this offer, join our newsletter or $500 coupon off the price of a vehicle? I'm not talking about a pop-up. I'm not talking about a JavaScript that launches a window. It's called a lighthouse. It kind of grays out and gives you this offer and you interact with it. What are your personal views of some sort of intrusive offer such as that when you're shopping yourself? Don't like it. Yeah, despise it. I despise it too. But guess who doesn't despise it? Your customers. They don't despise it, and regardless what they tell you, the analytics speak for yourselves. If your customers despise it, you know what would happen? Your bounce rate would go up. They'd come to your website, they'd see it, and they would leave. If your customers despise it, you know what happened? They wouldn't fill it out. But we have seen over 2 million leads generated this way. I built my very first lead capture tool in 2002, and I've launched it over 5,000 dealership websites and generated over 2 million leads. And time again, it's the _1 lead driver on every one of our websites. And I hate it with a passion because I've been 7 years looking at it. My dealers hate it because every time they go to view their website or change a website, they see it. But consistently, 3-fold more leads from that coupon than any other page on their website. So if you have a personal bias against these, try to get over that. Your customers, when they're in the market for a vehicle, they're interacting with them, they're filling them out, and they're buying cars because they wouldn't fill it out if they didn't actually have a real intent to purchase, because it's only towards the purchase of a vehicle, right? So you ask me, all right, well, what if my customer doesn't know what car he wants? What if my customer is not ready to buy just yet? That's not going to be enticing enough for him. And I agree. Fortunately, there's some companies out there. So you've seen these. So this is what I'm talking about. Let me just back up for a second. So the website grays out, and all of a sudden, you have this offer for $100, and you could hit no thanks or get special offer. A lot of people hit no thanks. And you know what that does? It launches the window behind your website. It just sits there, doesn't pop in their face. When they're ready to navigate away or go to your competition or whatever they do, it's sitting there waiting for them to fill out. So that's kind of what that looks like and how it works. There's third-party products out there, so if your website provider doesn't support this, you could pay less than $200 a month, plug it in, watch your leads soar. And if you, and a simple design. This is pretty ugly, I agree. The colors look hideous, the font looks hideous. Every time I've created a slick new design and made it look pretty, conversion has plummeted. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. It's still generating. How many leads do you get off this, David or Sean?
That's our #1 lead generator, is that coupon.
Okay. So
we get about 16,000 unique visitors a month.
It works.
How many leads approximately off of 16,000 visitors?
On that particular coupon?
I didn't hear the question.
How many leads off of those 16,000 visitors off of that coupon? Would you approximately?
400.
About 400 leads.
If anybody doesn't want to take my word for it, if you email me after the show, stop by my booth, I'll give it to you for free for 30 days, plug it into whatever website you have, except if you use dealer.com, they're afraid of this, so I can't help you. But any other provider, I'll give it to you for free. And why it works so well is because it follows our master principle. The motivation is a cash discount. It's simple. It has a clear-cut call to action. Receive your certificate. 36% of his leads. Yes, sir. This is what pops behind your website. So the only time the consumer sees this is when they're leaving your site, logging off, or going to a competitor. This is what launches from your home page.
Do dealers typically do like a call campaign for all the people that submit that form, or do they
They treat it like any other internet lead. Now, if you look here, I've put shopping status, okay? And down there it says need help with financing, browsing, shopping and comparing. And then right in the middle I put ready to buy. 37% of every lead generated from this tool actually scrolls to the middle and indicates ready to buy. And then on the subsequent page, it actually gives you the chance to double your discount if you schedule an appointment online. And 30% of the people who start the process end up scheduling the appointment. I'm not saying they're going to show up waving the certificate, every time in your showroom. You still got to call them and land them on a car and do everything else. But it's still very effective. Now, anybody heard of Hook Logic or a similar company product? Or anyway, they got an awesome tool that in the beginning I felt competed with what I was suggesting that you should do, until they shared their metrics with me, they shared their API and their technology with me, and now I've found that if you use this in combination with the cash discount towards the purchase of a car, you can end up getting double the results. Because this appeals to a completely different class of shopper who may not be as committed, who may not be ready to land on a car, that may not be ready to commit towards the cash purchase of a vehicle, but will come in and give you 15 minutes or 20 minutes of his time in return for a $25 gift card. Very trackable, very effective. They're seeing about 40% conversion when someone actually shows up in the dealership. All right, I'm going to move through because I'm getting that sign of 5 minutes. All right, so landing page optimization, creating landing pages. It's a very easy thing to do if you understand the simple 5 steps, okay? So we decided that first you create a call to action, right? Here's a pay-per-click ad. Just randomly grab this out of a dealer in Texas. The copy reads, get your price quote now, right? So no-brainer, what's my call to action? Get your price quote now. So I'm designing a landing page, blank slate. I'm going to create a headline. So I'm going to use the same copy from the ad. Get your internet price quote now on a new Toyota Camry. Then I'm going to give my customer something to do. I'm going to drop in a form. Very simple. Headline, took text from the PPC ad, call to action, text from the PPC ad, dropped a simple form, no more than 3 fields. I gotta create ad copies selling my offer. I'm not selling my car on a landing page, I'm selling the quote. So, put a little bit of bullet points to further sell why they should fill out this form. Social proof. Throw your dealer rater, throw a testimonial, throw a social media icon, and then always use an image. You know the guy wants a Toyota Camry, that's why you displayed that ad. Put a picture. This is a landing page. Very simple, 5 easy steps. We took the simple 3-line ad, dissected it, used it in a very strategic way. If you drive your PPC campaigns for anyone searching for a Toyota Camry to this page, you will get considerably more leads than if you send them to your homepage.
Would you also recommend a view your inventory page on that, just in case they're not ready to submit their information?
Yeah, it would be, as long as it does not compete with my main call to action. So it's a secondary call to action, it's no problem. Bottom right-hand corner, even the phone number. Some people don't want to fill out a form, so I want them to call as a secondary call to action. So I put the phone number in the corner for the people wanting to call the dealership. Now, some people may want more phone calls and less leads, in which case I make the phone number more prominent and put the form in the right-hand corner. It all depends on what your goals are. This was more of a lead gen campaign designed around generating actual email leads. All right, we'll play a little game here. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. I just flashed up a website for 5 seconds. It's called 5secondtest.com. Okay? So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about the page I just displayed to you for 5 seconds. And based on your ability to answer these questions, we can determine whether that's an effective microsite that I just showed you or not. All right? What do you remember about the website? Okay, good. What can you do on that website? To do what?
Get a price quote.
Price quote on what, service? No. So, okay, so there's that could be a potential issue there. So if you look back, the main call to action was schedule a service appointment. See that? So it didn't jump out at you. So to me, I think there's a lot of distraction on the page Because what I really want you to do, I want you to print a coupon. That's my secondary call to action. But what I'd really like you to do is make a service appointment. All right? So when looking at your own home page, when looking at your own landing pages, use 5-second test. And the thing is, you don't even have to be the one, you don't have to go get one of your employees. What you do is you submit the questions to 5-second test, and random people on the internet are asked these questions about your home page or your landing page, and you get the opportunity to hear their feedback. Okay? Don't assume you know your customers. Okay? My grandmother, if she was alive today, would probably be my usability expert at my office. And I would probably have her on a day-to-day basis complete tasks on my dealership's website. And mind you, my grandmother doesn't speak a lick of English. So you gotta use very simple call to actions and so on and so forth. So tools for your toolbox. All of this is not possible unless you have the right tools. I didn't develop any of this technology that I use today, but I have spent a lot of time evaluating outside of our industry tools to help me conduct these tests. I want to share some of them with you. Crazy Egg, all of these things are under $50 a month, so they won't break your bank. This is a heat map software. It provides you really robust analytics on where people clicked on your site, how far down they're scrolling. If you look at our VDPs, guys, some guys keep going down, and keep adding more and more content. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. It all depends on how far your users are willing to scroll. You should be able to measure that. So that's a really cool tool. Usertesting.com. All right, for $27 a month, I can supply anybody's website to usertesting.com and say, I live in Charlotte. My demographic for my customer is 45 to 65. Their average income is about $50,000. I give them my demographic. They'll find someone in Charlotte that fits that demographic, and they'll give him a task, and then he will conduct a video talking out loud and going about conducting that task. So you should do at least 3 of these per month and give different tasks to different demographics. I submitted a website recently and got hammered. I mean, the guy absolutely hated it. So, be sure you have thick skin if you're going to do this. Walmart is one of their key customers. And you get the results back in 1 hour. This is a really cool A/B split test software. It's called Visual Website Optimizer. They're based out of India. Customer service is a little shoddy, but the technology, hands down, amazing. Visual Website Optimizer. Why I love it so much is you don't have to know any HTML, you don't have to know any Photoshop or anything. Everything is drag and drop. So let's say you had your search widget on the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side. You could easily just drag your search widget, place it on the right-hand side of your screen, and then do a split test to determine which particular treatment yields the highest number of inventory searches. That is me. Thank you very much for your time.